So on this side, by looking at this type of cell, first off, we can see that we don't have a lot of stuff in there. In fact, the only thing we can see in here is circular DNA. And just looking at this cell, I can tell this is a prokaryote cell. And if you are a prokaryote, first off, you have to be a bacteria. Now, while we're thinking about bacteria, remember bacteria, there are two groups of bacteria. There's the archaea, which are the bacteria that are the original forms of life, the oldest forms of life on the planet. And they're the ones that can live like where nowhere else can, like volcanoes and salt lakes and stuff like that. And then there's the eubacteria, which are kind of the bacteria we think about when we're talking about decomposers or when we're talking about pathogens. Okay, so that's bacteria. Circular DNA. Remember, in prokaryote cells, the nucleus, let's try that again. The nucleus or the nuclear membrane is absent. It is not there. Now, let's look over here at this type of cell. You can see there's a lot of stuff in here. This is definitely a eukaryote cell. Okay? The main reason I know it's a eukaryote cell is I have a nuclear membrane. And I have a lot of all these things which are organelles, membrane-bound organelles. Now, that's a eukaryote cell. This also is a eukaryote cell. The difference is, while this one is an animal cell, this one is clearly a plant cell. And the biggest giveaway, well, there are three big giveaways. The first giveaway is we have, just look in here, these things here. These are chloroplasts. You'll notice that both cells here, right, both cells, the animal cell has this, which is a mitochondrion, and the plant cell has it. Remember, they both do cellular respiration, but only plant cells do photosynthesis. So this is the chloroplast. It's green because it contains chlorophyll, which is a pigment that absorbs light energy. It has a large vacuole, all right, vacuole for storage. And the other big thing that makes this is this thing on the outside. They both have a cell membrane, but only plant cells have a cell wall, and that cell wall is made out of cellulose, which is a type of carbohydrate that that glucose can get converted into a structural carbohydrate for the outside of the cell wall. These three things are all cells. This is not a cell. Because this is not a cell, it is not considered living. This is a virus particle. Okay? A virus particle. What do viruses do? They do one type of life process, and that's it. The only life process they do is they are able to reproduce. They are not able to reproduce on their own. They need to have a host cell. Okay, how do they attach to the host cell? All these little proteins that are on the outside, right? These are for attachment. Okay, they're often called spike proteins. They are what the COVID vaccines, the mRNA COVID vaccines are for, like the Pfizer and the Moderna, because they code to make these spike proteins, which then when you get injected into you, initiate an immune response, which means the COVID virus, when it does infect you, cannot attach to your cells because it can get destroyed before it causes an infection. So virus particles are not living because they are not made of cells. The only thing they can do is reproduce with the help of a host cell, which they can attach to. These spike proteins are specific to a type of cell that the virus attaches to. When the virus becomes active in your cells, it will make your protein synthesis system, ribosomes, produce new virus particles, which then burst out of the host cell and destroy the host cell, and then go on to produce, to infect another host. So that's the fourth part of the review.